Greetings, 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 everyone. How are we doing this fine evening? Today is Thursday. It's the last day of Septiembre. How are we all doing? How are we all doing? How are we all doing? I'm feeling good, feeling spiffy. You know how that is. Everybody, it is me, Lysander X Caligo. How are we all doing today? If you are in the chat, let's get some thumbs up going as well, just to make sure that people can see this and get it rocking and rolling. Oh, yeah. So, as you guys can see, the title, Can Modern Women Be Saved? We're going to discuss that here in a little bit. But first, let's take care of some housekeeping as we always do. When you get in here, let's please hit the like button. And if you want someone to see this show, please do share it. Also, we are going to get a call-in session later on, around the 45-minute to an hour mark. We will get the chat up and running. We will talk on Zoom, and I will post that link in there. So stand by for that. In the description, you will see three things. You will see access to my book, Purging Feminism, which I would greatly enjoy you all purchasing, as you guys can see here. Booyah! I love this book, love the cover art. As you guys know, too, I did a discussion about this a little while ago. Everything that's going on right now in society is what I called in the book, especially in the introduction. Give it a read. Give it a review on Amazon. Also, please, the second part of this book is ready to be produced. I just need the shekels for it. So donate some shekels my way, either via a super chat or hit the link in the description to my PayPal and send me some doll hairs. Doll hairs get the next book produced also as well. In there, you will see my Twitter handle. Please do join and follow me on Twitter. I have a lot of guys that are contacting me right now on Twitter. They get one-on-ones with me, ask questions, all sorts of good stuff. What's happening, Mr. Matt W? What's happening? Yeah, join me on Twitter. If you guys aren't on Twitter, you should be on Twitter. I actually enjoy Twitter a lot, even though they are pretty, in comparison to the other social media platforms, they are, what's it called? They're a little bit more fun. There's still a bit of shit posting on there. You can get a little bit away with some stuff. You could have some good conversations with people. So join me on Twitter. As well, on Twitter, there's a thing called Spaces where I am going to be doing, what's it called? Oh, you guys are liking the looks. What's happening? How are we doing? Yeah. I'm up in here. I'm looking a little bit like an Italian mob boss, right? Got the slick back going on. Got the custom suit. Oh, yes, sir. Check this out. Custom suit with, actually, we'll go to this side. Custom embroidery on the inside. Nice paisley design. I got to get it taken in a little bit more, though. I've been slimming up. I got this made when I was like 252 pounds of just solid muscle. So we got to get this taken in a little bit. But still looking good. Love the high collar, bro. Thank you very much. That's the best way to rock shirts, man. Seriously. I'm really liking this tie, too. I think it's a good match. Oof. So, you guys know. No way. I'll get that in a second. You guys know what's coming next. We are going to get into the fragrance of the day. Once a few more people spill up in here. Once we get a few more people spilling up in here, we'll go over the fragrance of the day, and I have a great one for you. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. Mike McDonald says, long story short, I was raided by the FBI over some bullshit entrapment scheme and cleared as innocent over the Michigan governor. So I'm kicked off of Twitter and FB permanently, LOL. That sucks. That's ridiculous. I don't like hearing that. So I can only watch and follow you on YouTube. Okay, that's fine. What's up, my man? Mr. Gookfish is in the house. Yep, we got some Axe deodorant that we're going to talk about today. No, actually, I have a really, really good fragrance for you. You've heard me talk about it in passing before. However, today I'm going to unravel and decant My favorite fragrance up until, well, actually, sorry. Unfortunately, this fragrance has now fallen in my rankings. I now have a new number one, which I am not going to tell you about. I'll get to it some other time. But today, what we're going to talk about is a fine fragrance. You guys ready for this? No Coco Chanel. No Coco Chanel. It is, I also don't know if I can rank this as my number one from this house, but it is from my favorite house, my favorite parfumer. It is from the house of Initio, and this is Side Effect. Look at this puppy. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fragrance. I believe it's from the Carnal Blends line. This fragrance, is, you know, a lot of fragrance reviewers, they always say, it is just sex in the bottle. It is sex in the bottle. This is seduction in a bottle. This isn't just sex. This is like all the foreplay and everything like that up until, right? Gentlemen, this is the ultimate bad boy date night fragrance. Ultimate bad boy date night fragrance. You go and rocking this. And listen, I am speaking from experience, hands down. When I first smelled this, I was like, all right, done. Fuck it, like, let's go. Wore it. I wore this probably on, like, date night. And I always got amazing compliments when I went in for the hug. Women absolutely loved it. It really put the cherry on top of a date. It sets the stride. Let's give a read off of what this fragrance is. As I said, it's from Initio Parfums. You guys really, really want to get into Initio. I'm telling you, I know you guys will sit here and say it's a little bit expensive. We're looking around the $325 to $425 range for whichever fragrance you get. But this house is highly underestimated. It is like the perfect, I don't want to say playboy, but the whole reason and the whole idea of this house is to come up with amazingly blended, like spicy oriental fragrances that invoke high emotion of seduction. So for the line of men that we are, this is the perfect house. The other great thing is not a lot of people are wearing it, but there is because this is still a very niche brand. So it's niche in general. Their fragrances are very niche. And then the house, although it has a very loyal following, there's still not a lot of people that are rocking and rolling it. As a matter of fact, it's going to probably get there. I'm not going to lie. Neiman Marcus just recently picked up this brand and they're pushing out some of their fragrances because it came there by demand. This fragrance that we're discussing today, Side Effect, let me pull that up again. This has notes of vanilla, rum, tobacco, warm, spicy notes mixed with sweet, finished off with cinnamon and a little bit of woody and powderiness, right? So think of all those notes mixed together. When you first spray it, the first thing you're going to get is spicy booze. It's a good, solid rum, but it's mixed very well with this cinnamon and a little bit of vanilla. And you get that woodiness in there too. So it's very masculine, but it's very fun and playful. Very, very fun and playful. I'm surprised it doesn't have the actual notes listed here. That's kind of funny. Normally it does. Okay, well, it's just showing rum, vanilla, tobacco, cinnamon. Yeah, that's the note that I really wanted to talk about too, is tobacco. So we're talking like a really good, so it's not like a chewing tobacco scent where it's really sweet. It's not like a smoky tobacco either. Actually, you know what? It is a little bit of a smoky tobacco. I was going to say it's not so much like a pipe tobacco where you smell pipe tobacco and it's sweet and tobacco we mix together. This is like a good smoky tobacco, but it's light. It's like a good solid cigar. but a nice light cigar mixed with rum, vanilla, and cinnamon. It's really awesome, and it is really, really seductive. It is a mind bender. When you smell it, you get all of those notes blended super well, to the point where you're not really sure what you're picking up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliments, guys. Sounds like a scent to wear when doing pickup at AA. I don't think you even need to wear a fragrance at AA. I think those chicks are just ready to jump on whatever new addiction they can hop on outside of alcohol. So, but sounds terrible. No, I'm telling you, hands down, this fragrance is amazing. Actually, Gookfish, I wanted to ask you a question. Like, what do you like? Because as you know, I'm very much into, what I'm realizing is I'm big into like spicy rums mixed with vanilla, mixed with patchouli, mixed with amber and ambergris. Those are like my main notes that I like to go after, with a little bit of woody. I do have something that I want to tell you. So I went out this weekend, and I went to go smell some new fragrances, and Boss Original. Why is everybody so obsessed with Boss? I can't. Anyway, I'll leave that there. I wanted to put my nose on Tom Ford Ombre Leather, because what I wanted to do was really build up, and nice. That's actually pretty good. The Givenchy line is really good. I really wanted to get my nose on Ombre Leather because I was recommending fall fragrances to a bunch of different people. And so I sprayed Ombre Leather, and I wanted to love it. I wanted to love it. I love the top notes of Ombre Leather. I love how clean and fresh it is, but that leather in the background to me is just repulsive. I do not like leather in my fragrances. It's just it's too abrupt. It's too off-putting. It's not a mature scent. You can't mature leather. Like with tobacco, I talked about it. You have like the chewy sweet tobaccos. You have the smoky tobaccos. You have the woody tobaccos of just like if you're smelling like a fine cigar. You have the pouch of like your what's it called, tobacco, your pipe tobacco, which is absolutely phenomenal. That's what tobacco vanille reminds me of. That's why I love it. I can't stand it though. I couldn't. I put it on and I was like, get this off me. I can't stand it. That leather is just disgusting. So anyway, long story short with that, leather, it doesn't evolve. Tobaccos evolve. There's some patchoulis that evolve. Some ambers evolve. All this other stuff. I like the evolution of it. Yeah, you and I are on the opposite spectrum. I hate blues. I hate blues. I own Bleu de Chanel. If I wear Bleu de Chanel, I have to layer it with something, and I got to spray it just a little bit. Yeah, I think Tom Ford, there's probably like three or four maybe out of all of them that I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do this. And even then, I think that Initio is a far better house to rock, even though I do enjoy me some Tom Ford. Sweeter than JPG? No. JPG comes off as like bubbly gum and cotton candy. This is not that level of sweetness. This has a little bit more edge. So this is like JPG Ultra Male. If the dude started lifting heavy weights and like got more of a jawline and like got some bigger traps and delts and lats, like that, like it's the big brother for sure. Anyway. Oh yeah, you hate it too. I can't stand it. I don't like a lot of stuff that has Ambroxan in it, especially as the base. So good questions, great comments. Keep it up. Make sure you guys are hitting the like. We got a comment to start off with. No modern woman can be saved, although I think new gems or newborns, new gems, he meant generation. New generations of newborns can be saved. There must be a strategic divide. Great comment. We're going to go down that road today. I am going to probably move into that too. I'm probably going to move into that. I just wanted to make sure that my, my selection, everything that I have is good. Yo, great, man. Can you spend 2 minutes on this topic about girls that sell their virginity? Someone actually for $1 million. Okay, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Do they have samples of that fragrance? Are you speaking specifically of side effect? Is that the sample you're discussing? What I want you to do right now is go on your phone or whatever free device that you can look up something without clicking off of here, and go to maxaroma.com. I'll put it in the chat. And that's where you can get some really good samples based on whatever size and category you want to get. And I recommend getting a couple. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff, good stuff. Max Aroma is the place you want to go to for your samples. I almost did another fragrance today by the House of Initio. I actually wore that earlier today when I was in a little bit of a different mood. And then I changed my mood up. I changed my mood up after some jujitsu. And this was the suit that I wanted to rock with this color pattern. And I said, you know what? The fragrance that I was rocking earlier just did not match the fragrance. That's something that's important to discuss, guys, is your fragrance needs to complement your appearance. It needs to be the cherry on top to your outfit. Just to let you know. Just to give you a little tidbit of info. Anyway. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate you guys coming in here discussing fragrance with me as well. It's obviously a big passion of mine. But even bigger passion is discussing the current state of our culture, where we are at today. You know, I do a lot of talking about men on this channel. I talk to men. I tell you specifically what type of man to be, what your goals, your aspirations, what type of appearance you should operate from, how to get yourself better, how to cultivate yourself into the man that you desire. I call it becoming your best version of your best self. However, I also have to discuss women because men need to be educated on female nature. And I also do believe this, you know, a lot of people out there will sit there, you know, you'll see it in the reviews of my books. Women will call me a misogynist. Women will say that I hate women, all this other stuff. No. I don't hate women. I do not hate women. And I'm not going to give you the typical, I don't hate women. I actually love women. No. The fact of the matter is this. What I appreciate and what I respect is truth, justice, and optimization. With all of that, I understand the roles by which we were beset by nature, the rules of the universe, the rules of nature. I understand men's roles and I understand women's roles. The fact of the matter is, I much more prefer, and society much prefers, women who fall into the traditional roles and enact and impart their natural femininity. What I can't stand and what I despise is modern women. I despise modern women. I despise what women have become. I want that to settle for a second. Because it's not that I hate women. I hate / despise that women have bought into this notion, this marketed notion to them that sells them decadence, that sells them undisciplined lifestyles, that sells them short-term gratification, all under the guise of happiness, strength, and progressiveness. I want you to understand that. Women have been duped. They've been marketed this stuff, and they've bought it hook, line, and sinker because this mindset, this subversion of the traditional roles of women were sold to women under a fear campaign via our school systems and our entertainment industry. movies showing women that were just cooking and cleaning, and they're being taken advantage of by their husband who went out and worked and succeeded in the workforce and all this other stuff. And she was just there home doing the dishes, doing the laundry, taking care of the house, and managing the children. And then the husband comes home, sits on a recliner, drinks his fucking drink, and doesn't want to be fucking talked to, right? And then all of a sudden it turns into an argument and he becomes abusive towards her. And he's ungrateful towards her. And this poor woman is sitting there and she's a slave. She's a slave to her husband. That's what women have been marketed is what a traditional woman is. And they've been marketed this revolt against that lifestyle, teaching them that it's slavery, it's disrespect, that it's the patriarchy and so forth. So the New Age said, women, come into the workforce, get your degrees, become a CEO, get into politics, climb the corporate ladder, give your best to your boss. You're going to be far happier doing that. And at some point, if you really want to have children in your 30s after finding someone who will accept you. Have children and return right back to work. And this is a powerful woman. This is a happy woman. The other thing women were marketed was this. They were told to go out and get that bag, right? Get their money, set up their own accounts, because the worst thing that could ever happen is this. Your husband is going to take advantage of you and he's going to trade you in for a younger model. This always happens. And you have no marketable skills and he's going to leave you flat broke on your back with no money. So what you need to do is you need to also have an education. You need to have a marketable skill. You need to work for a company and corporation. You need to make your own money because you can't be taken advantage of by men like that. And the fact of the matter is this, and the beauty of what's happening in this world today is this. We're seeing it happen more and more. We saw it in the domestic violence stuff that was lied to. We were marketed in the 90s, early 2000s, and even in the 80s that men were the abusers in the relationship. And it was all men. It was all men and no women. We were told that men were the ones that were trading in their wives for younger women and kicking the wives out so that they were desolate and in despair. And what we're seeing today is a completely inverted reality to what those messages were. Because what we are seeing instead is women leaving the marriages at 80% and men sticking around. What we're seeing instead is women who are making money and they're saving all their money, or they're parceling and taking money away and putting it and stacking it away for themselves and never investing any of that money into the man or the family. What we're seeing instead is a judicial system that is now taking men's money, right? The house he bought, giving it to the woman. The children he made, giving it to the woman. Making a husband pay alimony and child support. So much so that now he could barely even afford, after all of those expenses, he can barely afford to live by himself in a studio apartment and pay for his food and such. I see this. I see this happen. I was in the military where, God, the divorce rate for those guys is insanely high. I spent 9 years in the military watching these men get chewed up through the court systems over and over and over again, to the point that most of these guys had to sleep on couches of their friends' houses in order to get by. Men were never the problem. Those are isolated cases. It's much like what we see today. And this is why women, modern women, this is what's going on with modern women, is they see things on the news, they watch Lifetime, and they see an isolated event, a very small microcosm of reality. And in their mind, that great irrational fear that they hold on to that great irrational fear that they hold on to is reality. It's going to happen all the time. The best case I can give you for this is an irrational fear. Let's understand an irrational fear really quickly. Okay? What is an irrational fear? Well, an irrational fear is something along the lines of this. People who won't go into the ocean. People who won't go swim in the ocean. Why? Tell me in the chat right now, please. Why won't people, most people, and I'm actually saying this towards most women. I say this to women all the time. Let's go for a swim in the ocean, right? When we go to the beach or whatever. No. Because there's blank. Give me the answer. Give me the answer. I feel like the chat's not moving at all. Maybe it's on my side. People won't go swim in the ocean because of sharks. Because they're afraid they're going to get attacked by sharks. And the fact of the matter is this. You are more likely to get struck by lightning twice in your life than you are to get attacked by a shark. Which makes not swimming in the ocean an irrational fear. Irrational. Irrational. You guys understand what I mean by this, right? The odds are so slim. But in her mind, it's rational to believe it. In her mind, it's rational to believe it. That fear of that happening to her is so real that it's more real than statistics. It's more real than reality, that emotion of fear. So what's happened? These women have been grown up watching MTV, Lifetime, all this other shit, going through these school systems where all these instructors are telling women about how the reality of the world is. Then they go to these universities and they're indoctrinated further with these theoretical ideas. They're theoretical. They do not meet up to the rationality of the statistics of what really happened in this world. And that's why I'm saying these modern women have been indoctrinated into this mindset via a fear campaign from entertainment, media, and these school systems to teach them that these irrational fears, these microcosms, are going to happen to them with men in relationships. When the reality is, what do we know about the statistics currently? We know that men are leaving relationships far less than women today. That men are initiating divorce far less than women today. It was only ever maybe the top 5% of men, top 10% of men that had the ability and the resources to trade in their older wife for something better. Or they had the status somehow within their community or culture to be able to do that. It was only the top 10% of men, which means that the other 90% of men that were in these relationships were completely fine and completely happy, holding on to their wife until death do us part, continuing in investing in her, investing into the household, investing into the children, and living into their twilight years with this individual. But modern women have been so taught to be scared of getting into these relationships and investing full force with these men who statistically are more likely to connect with, bond with, and stay with in a longer duration than women today. So the fact of the matter is this. Women are operating off of indoctrination. Modern women are indoctrinated into an ideology. And that's scary. I'll tell you why it's scary. And the fact, too, is this. So I just got done watching. I've seen it before, but I just rewatched it again because one of the guys in my group sent this out, and I was like, oh, wow, this is great. But it's Yuri Bezmenov. If you don't know who Yuri Bezmenov is, and I'll give you the link to this, what's it called? It's from Persian Atheist, KGB defector Yuri Bezmenov's Warning to America. It's from 8 years ago. It's got 2 million views. Yuri Bezmenov talks about what had happened and what they were doing, what the KGB was doing to subvert, not use espionage. He was saying espionage was only 15% of the KGB's program. He said the other 85% was meant to subvert American culture. And they isolated 2 specific locations, the entertainment industry and the universities. Lenin said this: give me your children for 4 years and I will sow seeds that could never be uprooted. Talking about communism here. I draw the connection here in my book. In Purging Feminism, I talk about the education system pretty deeply in this book. And I describe and I use that exact, what's it called? That exact phrase. I wonder if it's in my Not Teaching Philosophy. What's it called? I'm going to look. We got time. Yep, this is where it's at. Not Teaching Philosophy is where I discuss it in my book. Page 114. So I talk about this. I say, I want you guys to remember back to the time you were 18 years old, how idealistic you were, how invincible you felt you were. Yeah, there you go. I like where you're going with it. How ideological you were, how invincible you thought you were, how much you thought you knew everything, and how much you wanted to change the world, how much of an impact you wanted to have on the world. You see, when a individual is between the ages of 18 and 22, that's when they're looking the most to isolate and find what their identity is. And that's why sending your children to, and I can't say children, so sending your young adult now at 18 to 22 to these universities that are now especially that are 100% Marxist indoctrination camps, utilizing feminism and postmodernism as their weapons. What you're doing now is you're sowing seeds that can never be uprooted. I further draw a deeper conclusion because what I understand now through being a salesman is this. There's a fallacy. It's called the foot in the door fallacy, right? If someone invests a little into something, they're more than likely going to reinvest again, right? It's called doubling down, right? So, all right, maybe it didn't work to start off with, but maybe if I just invest a little bit more, it'll work this time and I'll get paid off more and all this other stuff. Or, with timeshare, for instance, when someone bought a timeshare and they saw that it worked and it worked out well for them, we would call them back and we'd invite them back to our exclusive package program. And they're more likely to buy in this program because they're like, oh, this works great. We just want more time. We want to go to better locations. All right, perfect. Here you go. Sign this contract for this one. All right, cool. Let's do it. The pain's already over. Now, what I talk about here is this, and this is the most demonic part of this, is when you take someone who is that strong-headed at that point in time, and you teach them to become an activist, that they need to change the world, and then you give them an identity, then you layer on top of the fact that they just went into debt for $100,000, $150,000, $200,000. Do you think that person is ever going to change their mind and say, oh, shoot, I was wrong. I was wrong about this. Think about that. The ultimate foot in the door fallacy. That ideology is now ingrained even deeper. It's dug in worse than a tick. Because there's no way in hell, especially women who can't apologize, who cannot say that they were wrong, right? Kevin Samuels talks about this, and there's something I want to talk about too when it comes to him. He had a tremendous show on Monday. I got to go over this. It's insane. And it's perfect when it comes to talking about modern women today. But anyway, he said women use, and I talk about this, I believe, in my first book, Live Your Best Life in 30 Days. I talk about what the scarcity mindset, what the victimhood mindset, which is essentially these people, right? These Marxists, they don't believe in anything constructive. They don't have a constructive philosophy. Everything that they do is deconstructive. So it's always going to have to come from an oppressor out there versus the oppressee. I'm the victim. I'm the oppressee. I'm being oppressed by the system. So they can only deconstruct. It's always going to be a victim mindset. And whenever someone wants to hold power, especially in a victim state, they're going to lob shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. That's his version of it. I say guilt, fear, and shame. Those are the three things that you'll see from every type of dualistic philosophy. Shame, guilt, and fear are their controlling mechanisms. But he goes deeper, especially when talking about women. He says shame, guilt, insults, and the need to be right. He's got that perfectly. Because what we see from women today, these modern women, is they must always be right. And this is what's wrong with most of them, is they go to these schools, they get a degree that tell them that they're smart, then they go to a follow-on education, which means that they're a master's or a PhD, which further digs in this fucking belief system that they are the elite when it comes to what's inside here. They know better. But what makes it worse is the fact that they've now gone into debt $200,000. And there's no way now that they could ever say this system, this program, this ideology that I just went through and spent $200,000 on was wrong. It was the wrong choice. I was wrong. I was wrong. So what do? They instead double down on the ideology. Oh, it's the patriarchy. It's the patriarchy. That's just the patriarchy. Oh, you're just misogynists. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. Oh, yeah? Why are you so unhappy? Why is it that you have to put down 2 bottles of wine a night? Why is it that you have to take Xanax? Why is it that you have to take, what's it called? Ambien to get to sleep? It's because there's something going on inside you that knows the truth. Your soul knows that you are off the mark. I talked about this before, sin. What does the word sin mean? The sin means to be off the mark. That's all it means. And your soul knows when you're off the mark. You could feel it. It reverberates through you. It's the thing that causes anxiety and depression. It's the thing that makes you stress out about the future and dwell on the past. I bring all this up, guys, because the fact of the matter is this. Yuri Bezmenov talks about it in his deal. I've read numerous books about this. When someone is that dug into an ideology, when they're that dug into this specific ideology, there's no saving them. There's no saving them. There's no amount of reason. There's no amount of rationality. There's no amount of compassion or, hey, let's just have them hear it out. Let's see how things go. It's over. Once you go down that road of investing in the duality of oppressor versus oppressee, right? The deconstruction model of philosophy. You can't look at things in a constructive way. Whenever your source of value comes from external validation and an external locus of control, it's going to take something. It's going to take something deeply profound and painful. And I want to caveat this. I think that only works for men. Now, of course, are there some women, that this could happen to where it changes their mind? Absolutely. But the next biggest thing that we have to understand is this. Women always have the motivation to team up, ally with, and always promote the sisterhood. And that's why I talk about women not being able to ever be leaders. Because, and this is part of evolutionary psychology. So I'm not blaming women. I'm just merely stating facts about behavior and understanding women. That is their role. They are supposed to be a cohesive unit because they're supposed to be the inner circle of what men protect on the outside. So women will always protect women. Women will always put women's priorities above society's priorities or men's priorities. That's how they're fucking made to be. But that's why you can't have them in control of a society, because what they're always going to do is they're always going to feminize a society through that. Yep. Sephiroth, I think that's how you say it. Sephiroth Cloud. Sephiroth. Matriarchy, 90% of slave men, 10% for reproduction. Exactly. A financial attachment to an ideology. Exactly. Transgression of the law. 100%, guys. So when it comes to modern women being saved, I could sit up here all day long and be like, women, you need to do this. The only thing that will get us back. I mean, I'm sure it's not the only thing, but this is what I've devised. The only way for us to be able to get modern women back in line, to get them back on the straight and narrow, would be for the entire world's power grid system to turn off. As crazy as that sounds, because we would then have to go back to our roles, our traditional roles, because we would need to depend on one another to survive. The reason why I also say that is it can't be a man-made thing, because what we do have, and I hate to get super conspiratorial, but I got to say it, there is a cabal. There is a cabal out there right now that is pushing and promoting this agenda. And they're steering the direction that we're going right now. So it can't be from the cabal to do this either, because they're never going to let it happen. It needs to be natural. It needs to be authentic. People need to see it happen authentically. And then we need to rebuild from there. And then from there, going back to the first comment that was posted today, no modern women can't be saved, although I think new generations or newborns can be saved. From there, we then implement my new book that I just wrote, part 2, Order from Chaos. From there, that's when we implement my new book and we rebuild a society based off of those principles. As crazy as that sounds. And that's what I wrote that book for. I wrote that book for, break in case of emergency, right? All right, we're in emergency. What do we do after this? Okay, right? So you got this book first that highlights all the ways that we went wrong. Very well written, I must add. And then this new book, Order from Chaos, Patriarch's Vision, Order from Chaos, by the way. This is how we restructure. This is how we build a society. These are the rules by which we build a society. This is the reason why these rules are into place. Because we can't repeat that again. We can't repeat that blight on humanity. So, I do not think modern women can be saved. I think something significant is going to have to happen so that new generations can learn. And so that we as men become the leader of this new generation and shape society in the direction that it needs to go in. Who's in charge of this cabal? Well, I think it's the older families that have all the money. I think it's the those are the people that control the IMF and the what's it called, banks, the world banks, essentially. I think that corporations are in line with this. I think that the World Economic Forum, the WHO, and a bunch of other international agencies are also at the beck and call of these people. But it does go up to it's a pyramid, right? So it does go up to a point. And if I were to go even deeper into who's at the top of the point, I think that this is going to sound insanely crazy, but I like doing crazy every once in a while. I think the spirit of Lilith. Is in charge of that. And I actually think that's who the quote unquote devil is. I think that the quote unquote devil is a woman, and I think it's the spirit of Lilith. I think that's the matriarch. I think that's the final boss, right? That's just me playing around with different stuff. But I think that that's the point. I think that's the key individual at the top that's controlling these groups and all that other stuff. No, I don't think it's the spirit of Moses. I think it's Lilith. If you haven't ever heard of Lilith, the Jews, I'm talking in a good way here. They talked about the spirit of Lilith. I know that Coach Greg Adams did a show on the spirit of Lilith one time, and that's actually what got me into understanding this. But supposedly in I don't know if it's the Torah or the Kabbalah, they talk about the spirit of Lilith, and she was actually Adam's first wife in the Garden of Eden, and she was worse than Eve. She was like the ultimate feminist, right? And she was like shunned from the Garden of Eden. Is it the Talmud? Nice. What did I say? The Torah and the Kabbalah? Yeah, I'm as you can see, I'm not very well versed in my Yiddish. Anyway, with that said, we are going to get into live chat now. If you guys want to call in, I should have probably posted the link sooner, but whatever. I also don't give a rat's patootie. Link is in the chat if you guys want to go ahead and call in. I'm going to have to bring this out so you guys can hear me. Turn this up a wee bit. And Yahtzee. We're up and running if you guys want to hop on in there. Whew. Actually, you know what? I'll leave this up just so I can see if someone calls in. If not, let's go ahead and scroll through some of these here comments. Gookfish said earlier when it came to fragrances, Givenchy, the triangle bottle. I don't think I've ever gotten that. I have Givenchy Gentleman. I'll actually do a review on that one here soon. It's good everyday wear for the office, I think. You wanted me to discuss the topic about girls that sell their virginity. Actually, some for $1 million. I think that's despicable, to be honest with you. I think it's despicable in the sense that it really cheapens the whole point of the reason why you should have been a virgin, right? It should have been more about your purity and giving it away as a gift to a high-value man, not selling it. So it just speaks volumes as to what that person is really motivated by in life. And now she's just simply a prostitute. So now, if this were back in the day where it was like a king or a Ronin or something like that had like a virginal concubine, and he wanted to sell her virginity for the night or whatever to a high bidder, got no problem with that. But it goes more to do with the woman's character. She didn't make the choice. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I don't think so. I think that women should be virgins and remain pure for a specific reason, to give to a gift of a high value man, to a man that they chosen. I also think that the virginity thing has a lot more to do with pair bonding and children and so forth. So I'm going to see what new comments we have first, and then I'll go back up. Love is fool's gold when it comes to women. I agree. Caveat emptor, let the buyer beware. Very good. I think I said this one earlier, but I like it. So they're thinking in terms of possibilities instead of probabilities. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. There's no rationality in it. We got anybody calling in yet? Someone at least click the link to let me know it's working. We got a bunch of quiet people today, huh? Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. Yep. That was one I wanted to bring up too. This whole thing with guns. The fact of the matter is, when it comes to assault rifles, right? ARs, I think in 5 years, there's only like 321. Let's even go on the higher side of it. 381 or 351. In 5 years, 351 deaths from an AR. That's nothing, right? But then you look at bats, clubs, knives, so on and so forth, pistols, way higher. Let's talk about fucking vehicle homicides and shit like that first. It's just irrational fears. I was thinking that I had someone in my comment section, I forgot his name. Sorry, buddy, if you're watching. He got all upset about me talking about legacy and becoming a father and stuff, and he wants to debate me. I was hoping that he was going to come in here today. They have an ego investment on that ideology, which is part of their identity. 100%. 100%. And the worst part, too, about all this stuff, too, is... So I've been through college. I did a lot of college, believe it or not. I gained about 160 credits in my military career. And, of course, none of them are transferable to any of these universities so that they can make money from you. And then I think I have about 130 more credits from university and other college that I've done up to this point. Of course, I don't have my bachelor's degree because I bounced around a lot, and there were some colleges I absolutely hated and had to get away from or separated my time and so forth. Either way, long story short. The long story short is this. People go to these schools now, these universities, in order to get a degree where someone tells them, hey, you're smart now. Hey, you're accepted. Hey, you're part of this group. A lot of people are more obsessed with getting the title than they are of getting and extrapolating the goods, the wisdom from that thing, right? They want to be told by society that they're accepted and they're special. That's why I don't like that stuff. So now they believe that about themselves. They're not really intelligent people, or they're insanely intelligent people, but they have no actual critical or rational skills, and they have no experience to back it up with. I am oh man. This was the one that I didn't want to talk about. Yes, I have tried Baccarat Rouge 540. It is officially my favorite. It is my favorite. Actually, as a matter of fact, the extrait. Baccarat Rouge 540 extrait. Extrait in English, but extrait in French is my favorite. My favorite thing in the whole world. As a matter of fact, I sprayed it on this. And I'm wearing it as well, with only the side effect on my hands. Actually, they pair up very well. Side effect. So MFK 540, Baccarat Rouge 540, just the regular one. Yeah, exactly. I like that. It's a little bit feminine, although I love it. I absolutely love it. I will wear it. But the extrait version of it, for me, on my skin, Some people dislike it. Some people like it more. I'm in the category of liking it more, and it is my ultimate favorite. I wanted to buy it the other day. It's $425 for the 2.4. But if when I buy it, I'm going to buy the 7.2 ounce because I like it that much. So thanks for ruining my favorite one. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't ruin it. Very, very, very amazing fragrance. I'm going to do a review on a fragrance here soon that smells very close to it, but it's very different as well. So it smells very close to that fragrance. It's very different, very well done, and you're going to stand out wearing it. I think you spelled Yamaka wrong. It's like Yamakul, right? That's how you spell it, but I like that. It's very Japanese. Yamaka. A prosthetic nose on Lysander. He need a big one for that schnoz. Good old Italian genetics on this thing. You know, when I was stationed in Japan, Japanese people were amazed by me. And I had a girlfriend in Japan too, and she was a stripper. That's how wild and crazy I was in my youth. But she used to tell me that my big nose and my big ears mean that I'm going to be wealthy, and she used to rub them. So that was part of their Japanese culture. Let's see. No bites on the calls yet, huh? Well, screw you guys. I'll post the link again just to make sure. If not, we don't have to do calls, and I could call this an early evening. I do have an announcement to make here coming up on Monday. Ear maxing, exactly. And that's why I had to get my holes punched through too. Oh, wrong side. There we go. I had to get my holes punched through so I could be like the Buddha for a little while there. Maximize my spirituality. Opened up the portals. Anyway, guys, the link is in the chat. If you guys want to call in to Zoom and ask me any questions, it doesn't have to be on the topic today. It can be any questions in general. We could discuss fragrances. We could discuss fitness. We could discuss women and talking to women. We can discuss fashion and how good I look. If not, I am going to get going. But I do want you guys to know this. First and foremost, thank you guys for all being in here. If we haven't hit the like button yet, please do hit the like. Also, one big thing, guys, sharing. As we all know, I'm very much shadow banned, like badly shadow banned. Like if there's a tier of shadow banned, I'm like on the bottom tier of shadow banning, which next I think is like getting it chopped off. Not it, but me from YouTube's. As you guys can see in my description, sorry, that was probably a little bit loud. I have 3 specific things. I have my, no worries. I have my PayPal charge. My PayPal link. Please send some dollars. Got a good one here. Good to see you in here, by the way. Haven't seen you in a while. Earlier, you were talking about women being in charge. I got to a private gym where there are coaches, and I refuse to be trained by any females. Most don't care. One guy never treated me the same. Perfect. I love that. Do you believe a masculine demeanor requires a sweeter fragrance? For me personally, yes. Yes. I think that there's, I'll leave that up. I think that so I'll talk about this when it comes to fragrance. I say this in my newest product. I call it a product right now because I'm going to have to unveil it next week. But I say this, what I said earlier stands true. Your fragrance needs to be your cherry on top of your outfit. It needs to match your outfit, and it needs to be matching the outcome you're kind of looking for. So, like like I said, when it came to side effect, very masculine, seductive. There we go. Very masculine and seductive. Kind of a bad boy seductive too, right? Like it's naughty time. So I'm not going to be wearing like a turtleneck and Chelsea boots and fitted jeans with a nice watch and rocking this. I'm going to be wearing my V-neck, some nice jeans with some really nice sneakers, right? And that's how I'm going to go on my date, and I'm going to rock this. Tattoos showing, everything's whatever. I don't rock turtlenecks, by the way. Sorry, just not my style. Not a big Chelsea boots kind of guy either. The other thing is this, like I have some very masculine fragrances. Like, for instance, I think Acqua di Gio Profumo. If you guys don't have Acqua di Gio Profumo, highly recommend it. I own it because it's a classic. It's definitely a compliment getter. It's not niche, so a lot of women will recognize it and they'll like it. But the Profumo is very condensed version of just Acqua di Gio, right? It's projector. It's a big projector. It's classic masculine, but clean masculine. I don't wear it personally. I don't really like it. I'll wear it sometimes just to kind of remember that fragrance because it was just such a cool time in my life when that fragrance came out. So it brings back memories, but I don't like to wear, me personally, I don't like to wear really, what's it called? So the point that I'm trying to bring up is this: for your fragrance, I like to wear fragrances that show something underneath my skin that people can relate to, that they can't see visually. So I like to, no worries. I like to wear playful. I like to wear sweet. I like to wear vanilla's mixed with cacao, right? Kind of like a dessert in a way. Not a gourmand, right? I like spicy gourmands. But I like something that's a little bit more, not necessarily seductive, because I'm not always trying to seduce, but something that's a little bit more like connecting, right? So I think masculine scents project a bit of like brashness, musky, strength, a little bit of defiance as well. So I wear something that's a little bit more like you have to be up close and personal. So if you're getting up close and personal with someone like me, you've already gotten past and gotten over like, oh, this guy's strong, he's intimidating, he's large, he's whatever, right? He's scary. And then they come into something that's warm and comforting and intoxicating and alluring. That's what I like. And I don't just wear fragrances for other people. I wear fragrances mostly for me. I wear fragrances that I personally like, right? Because if I'm not enjoying wearing something, like for instance, the other day when I had ombre leather on, I was like, yo, get this off me. I'm not happy right now. This sucks. Like I want this smell off of me. I don't like this emotion that it's bringing up. I don't like the projection of what it's saying. I personally don't like it. Get it off of me. So that's what fragrance should be about. So find your niche, right? Like Gookfish and I are completely opposite spectrum, which is fine, right? He's got his stuff that he likes. He's got his style. He's got his image that he's projecting and promoting. Which fragrance should Phil wear? Oh man, I really didn't want to give this up right now either. You guys are pulling it out of me. I think that Phil should try out this new fragrance. It's not new, but it's new to me. It's called Absolute Aphrodisiac by Initio. It is epic. It is absolutely epic. Vanilla, like a darker vanilla, mixed with a little bit of cocoa. Great spice. Anyway. Look up Rotting Turtle. Ugh. Sounds weird. Oops. Oh, no. Those sound terrible. But yeah, as you guys can tell, I like more of the sweeter stuff for some reason. For some reason, I like the sweeters. I like patchouli. I like amber. I like ambergris. Little bit of woody, little bit of spicy, little bit of rum, right? So sweet with spice. Sweet with spice is what I like. That's what I stick towards. Anyway, with that said, we've passed the hour mark. One's in the chat right now. If you guys like the topic, if you guys thought I handled it well. For those of you guys that are listening, not on the live stream, please do let me know which part of this show you enjoyed the most, what questions you have. I'd definitely like to know. What do you want to hear me talk about next? I think I already have a conversation that I want to discuss next, but we'll go there. Actually, sorry, excuse me. I need to do this. I need to do this. Big shout out to Kevin Samuels. If you didn't watch his show on Monday night, holy crap, when it came to modern women. So Kevin Samuels gets a phone call from this woman. She's 27 years old. Black woman, of course. He gets mostly black women in there. She's a babe. I'm not going to lie. Like, I personally really thought she was attractive. She had nice, big, natural lips, nice dolly eyes. Her eyes, though, this is where it came in that I knew. I was like, there's something damaged in there. I could see that there was something. There wasn't that sparkle or glimmer. There was a bit of death, darkness. Anyway, she calls in. And she's like, she's not very peppy. She's kind of monotone. Hi, Kevin. How are you? Hey, I just wanted to go over what my current situation was. I'm 27 years old. I had this high-value man as my boyfriend. We broke up about a year ago. And his biggest concern for me was that I needed therapy. And he told me that, and he broke up with me. He said, you need to get therapy, and he broke up with me. So after we broke up, that was my wake-up call for me to go and get therapy. And I've been in therapy for a year now. And I just want to ask you, like, how do I get him back? Because he's high value. He's a high-value man, and I know that's who I want to be with. I did what he said. Kevin's like, oh, this is fucking awesome. This is great. Like, you went out, you did what he said to do. Reconnect with the guy. Get back in touch with him. Tell him what you've been through. Tell him what your direction is now. Like, hey, I want to get back together. Want it to lead to marriage and all this other stuff. He's like, how old is he, by the way? She's like, oh, he's, I think she said he's 15 years older than me. Kevin asked a few more questions. I forgot what does he do for a living? And I don't remember how it came to be, but she's like, oh, she was talking about what she'd gone through during that time frame. She's like, oh, yeah, and within that year, I went and got married. And Kevin's like, what? You went and got married? She's like, yeah, I'm married. And she shows her ring. Like, I'm thinking, oh, she went and got married, and then she got divorced really quickly while she was going through therapy and all this other stuff and all this other shit. But no, she's currently married. She's married to a man 25 years older than her, so 52 years old. He's a pipe fitter. He had just recently, he bought her a nice ring, and he had just bought a house for them. And she is on Kevin Samuels' show live. This dude's got 1.3 million followers or 1.2 million followers, 26,000 people watching this show at this point in time. This chick calls up knowing full well the statistics that 1 in 4 black women will marry. 1 in 4 black women will marry. And she's currently married, asking Kevin, how can I get rid of my current husband and go back to my, my other high value man that I was with before? Kevin doesn't react at all. Cool as a cucumber. He gets up. I think he goes and gets some Red Bull or something like that. Comes and sits back down. Asks her a few questions like, oh, so you're wanting to... Let me get this right. You're wanting to leave your current husband right now who's providing for you and doing all these things, knowing full well that 1 in 4 black women will get married. And you want to go back to your higher value man. What does this guy do again? Oh, he's got a higher social circle and he makes more money and blah, blah. He's got a more respectable job. Kevin says, let me ask you a question. Why do you think that you deserve to do this? And she says, well, I think that I think this means that I respect myself more by doing this, by going after somebody higher value. And Kevin pauses and stops right then and there. He looks at this woman dead in the fucking camera and he says, ma'am, I got to be really honest with you. I have talked to a lot of women. And I've seen a lot of stuff. But you have to be by far the worst woman I've ever spoken to in my life. You have to be the worst woman I've ever spoken to in my life. And this girl's jaw just dropped. She did not expect that. In her mind, she truly believed that Kevin was going to side with her. He was going to support her, and he was going to help her get that high value man. Can you believe that disconnect? Can you believe that disconnect? And the beauty of this was she, in that moment, encapsulated all the worldviews of what's wrong with modern women today. Her sociopathy and narcissism is not just an isolated case. This is most women today. This is modern women today. Women that are currently turning 18 to 35 years old, in that range today. Actually, I'd say 42, right? Up to the millennial age. These are modern women. They feel like they are deserving of better and no one should judge them for that. They have no concern. Going back to my empathy conversation that I had the other day. Where's her empathy for this man? For this 52-year-old man who's probably doing back-breaking work every single day in order to try to take care of her and provide for her, maybe even knock her up and have children. And she's live in front of millions of people, speaking poorly behind his back and conspiring to leave him for another man that she doesn't even have. She hasn't even monkey branched yet. She hasn't even grabbed onto the branch. Can you fucking believe that, guys? This is modern women. So when I asked the question, are modern women, can they be saved? Are they worthy of being saved? Guys, cold-hearted killers, man. Cold-hearted killers. They're only out there for the clout. They're out there to take your money. They don't really want to invest in you. They only want to get the image of you and then leave when they got the bag secured. When they can use the system against you. And I'm not, again, I'm not trying to rain doom and gloom. I'm not trying to be a male, the opposite version of a feminist, right? I'm not trying to be that way. I really do hope for a future where we can get back to the constitution of marriage, where women fall in their femininity, where men fall in their masculinity, where men can provide protection, provisions, and direction to women, where women can provide their femininity, their submissiveness, right? And ease of life to a man. I really do hope we can get there, but not in today's world, not in the current system we live in. Not at all. Anyway, with that said, guys, I'm ending the Zoom call. Not that it mattered. Also, like I said, within the description, within the description, please do send some shekels my way so I could get the new book, Purging Feminism, A Patriarch's Vision, Order from Chaos. Get that published. Send some shekels my way. Send some shekels my way anyway, just for me coming on here and being fucking awesome and giving you guys information. Next, you'll see the link to my book, Purging Feminism. That would be great if you guys supported it on Amazon. As well, give it a nice review to make sure that a feminist loses her bull ring. All right. Oops, I lost power there for a second. That was pretty freaking crazy. Anyway, I was saying goodbye anyway. So please donate some shekels, buy my book, and add me on Twitter. I just wanted to end this little note here with that. And I'll see you guys live on Monday. All right, live at 5 on Monday. We'll have a new conversation, and I have something new I want to share with you. So until then, guys, I will see you later, and adios.